A media briefing by the Modi government today was being tracked very closely. The reason was obvious: the Pahalgam attack and India's response. Prime Minister Modi has been chairing a series of meetings in the last 24 hours. Yesterday, he chaired a meeting with the Air Force, Army and Navy chiefs, along with the Chief of Defence Staff and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Then, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh Chief Mohan Bhagwat visited the Prime Minister's residence. Today, the Cabinet Committee on Security, Political and Economic Affairs met. And then there was a Union Cabinet meeting, the first post-Pahalgam attacks. So, it was anticipated that the press briefing, will focus on Pahalgam and India's response. Turns out, the briefing done by Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav did not even mention Pahalgam. Instead, announcements centered around three things: new infrastructure projects in the northeast, approving the fair and remunerative prices for sugarcane farmers, and the third one was the big headline point. It came out of the bolt, aimed straight at the Congress with an eye on the upcoming Bihar elections: the announcement of a caste census, part of the national census. Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. The Modi government announced today that caste census will be a part of the next national census in India. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said this decision was taken at the Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs meeting today. Vaishnav said the government is committed to the values and interests of India. He targeted the opposition over the issue, saying the UPA governments failed to conduct a caste census but held surveys instead. Vaishnav also accused the opposition of using caste-based population count only for political gains.
According to Constitution of India, census is a union subject. Some states have conducted surveys, I'm repeating the word, surveys, to enumerate caste. Some states have done this well, while some others have conducted such surveys purely from a political angle in a non-transparent way. Such surveys have created doubts in the society. Considering all these facts and to ensure that a social fabric is not disturbed by politics, caste enumeration should be transparently included. I'm emphasizing the word transparently included in the census instead of surveys. This will strengthen the social and economic structure of our society while the nation continues to progress. Under the leadership of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Cabinet Committee of Political Affairs has decided today, that is 30th April 2025, that caste enumeration should be included in the forthcoming census.
Meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi, Congress MP and Lok Sabha leader of opposition, responded to this major announcement by the centre, and here's what he had to say.
Caste census, we have been fighting now for some time. Government has opposed. For some reason, we don't understand what that reason is. They have suddenly decided to do it. We welcome that. We are happy that they have done the caste census. Telangana is a model state for the caste census. There are two caste censuses in front of us. One is Telangana, the other is Bihar. They are completely different caste censuses. The Telangana caste census, the questions have been developed by a process of consultation, not a closed process, open process, by asking the stakeholders what are the type of questions. And it's been a very detailed, very granular exercise. We would like the national census to follow some of the ideas of the Telangana census, and we are more than happy to help the government develop the national census on similar lines. We have put enough pressure on the government to get the caste census done. We want a date by when it's done. We are going to put pressure on the government to make sure that 50% cap is destroyed.
So firstly, what is a caste census? You see, every 10 years, India holds something which is called the census, the national census. This is basically an official count of the number of people staying in India. It gives policymakers an idea about not just our population, but also finer details like age, religion, language, region, education, etc. This data helps in crafting policies for the desired segments of our population. The caste census adds one more detail to that, and that is caste, of course. So in short, along with the usual data, a caste census part of the national census would show which caste has how many people, and broader data on not just the caste but also subcastes that India has across the country. And in fact, this is not the first time that such a thing is happening. The first proper national census in India took place in 1881 during the British rule. The 1901 census identified 1,646 castes in India. This number increased to 4,147 in 1931. That was the last time India had a caste census, and most importantly, data of this caste census that was put up way back in 1931. In 1951, that is post India's independence, the Indian government said the caste should not be enumerated, it should not be part of the census. The exception was for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, that is SCs and STs. So in every census since 1951, only the count of SCs and STs has been mentioned and not a detailed caste-wise breakup. Jump to 2011. The national census that year collected caste-based data for the first time since India's independence. But this data was not made public. In 2021, the Modi government told the Supreme Court that there were huge discrepancies in the 2011 data, and that led to inaccurate data set. And hence, it could not be put out for public and be relied on for, of course, reasons like I said, inaccuracy. And these inaccuracy reasons were multiple. So first, there was no proper method to list these castes and subcastes until that point. There were administrative errors, like the same caste was being spelled differently in different parts of the India, and this was leading to duplication. For instance, some reports say the 2011 census said there were 46 lakh different castes in the country, whereas the 1931 caste census showed only 4,147 castes. Basically, there was no foolproof method to carry out this huge logistical task. In fact, the Modi government told the Supreme Court at the time that having a caste census was administratively difficult and cumbersome. Now let's come to the politics of it. The opposition, particularly Congress and Rahul Gandhi, have made caste census the focal point of their campaign in the last couple of years. Rahul Gandhi, in almost every speech of his, talks about having a caste census. He has challenged the Modi government multiple times that he will ensure a caste census is done by the government. He says a caste census is essential to ensure backward sections of society get their due representation and are uplifted. Rahul Gandhi has also promised on several occasions, especially during elections, to remove the 50% cap on reservations if the Congress comes to power. In recent years, states have conducted a caste survey, not a census, but a survey of their own to determine which caste stands where in terms of population. Some states have put out their findings and some haven't due to political pressure. Let's start with Bihar. Nitish Kumar's government became the first state government in independent India to successfully list all castes. In their findings released in 2023, it was found that OBCs comprise 63.13% of Bihar and SCs form about 20% of the state. Upper castes, as per this survey, were found to be 15.52% of the population in Bihar. Now mind you, this survey was conducted when Nitish Kumar was in the opposition camp, that is, when he was in an alliance with Lalu Yadav's RJD and the Congress. Now he's in the NDA camp with the BJP. In January 2024, the Andhra Pradesh government, which was an opposition-ruled state at the time by Jagan Mohan Reddy, and it is currently an NDA-ruled state under Chandrababu Naidu, had announced the caste survey exercise. This is before the Lok Sabha elections, January 2024. In February 2025, Congress-ruled Telangana put out only broad findings of their caste survey. As per that, backward castes are 56.33% of the population, SCs are at about 17%, STs 10.45%, and other castes at 15.79%. Karnataka, another Congress-ruled state, is a peculiar example. In 2014-15, when Siddaramaiah was the chief minister, he did conduct a caste survey. However, the findings of this survey were not put out publicly. Instead, a part of it was leaked. The findings at the time showed dominant groups like Lingayat and Vokaligas were smaller than the previous available data that we had on these communities. These two communities are believed to be among the most numerous caste groups, accounting for 17% and about 12 to 15% of Karnataka's total population respectively. Several Congress leaders were divided whether the report should be tabled or not. That is because it could have political ramifications for the party. Eventually, it did put out some of the data as recently as last month. It showed 1,351 castes and subcastes among the surveyed population of 5.98 crore people in the state. As for the BJP, the Saffron Party has always maintained a strategic silence on whether there should be a caste census or not. It has dodged the question whenever it has been asked about it. One of the possible fears is alienation of some of the BJP's crucial vote banks. A caste census would give the exact numbers about different castes, and that could really change arithmetics for the Bharatiya Janata Party. This would also renew a caste census, would also renew a reservation demand under the OBC quota, something that the BJP cannot afford electorally. Remember, if a caste census is held and the updated data is around, from that data, a demand for reservation, a renewed demand for reservation under the OBC quota could come up in different parts of India. So what caused the change of mind for the BJP now? Two things. First, tackling the Congress, and second, the upcoming Bihar elections. By biting the bullet on caste census, BJP has taken the single biggest issue of Rahul Gandhi and the Congress head on. Checkmate in a way. If the biggest weapon of the opposition is taken away, or the demand has been accepted in this case, where would that leave the opposition and their demands? Ask a supporter of Rahul Gandhi and they would tell you that this is a win for him because he said he will get a caste census done and now the Modi government says it will. But the flip argument is that the credit eventually of a caste census will be with the Modi government. After being on tentative footing all this while on this issue, BJP has stolen Congress's thunder on championing the caste census cause. There's also the communication aspect to this that the Bharatiya Janata Party has done better than the Congress. For instance, the Aadhaar, which was brought in by the Congress, was called a fraud by the BJP then, which was in opposition. Today, it has managed to communicate it and make Aadhaar the backbone of so many of their schemes, including the famous Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mudra Loan or JAM Trinity. Same was with the Planning Commission, which was again a creation of the Congress. Modi government tweaks it and makes it into Niti Aayog and makes it their own think tank. And so is the case with Manrega, a pet project of the UPA criticized by the BJP on several occasions. But today, it still remains the biggest government employment scheme in India today. And the caste census is now added to that list. The BJP has tried to give itself an issue to continue the momentum electorally from Maharashtra, Haryana and Delhi heading straight into Bihar. And also possibly communicate all of this better than Rahul Gandhi. It's also important to note that as of now, there is no word on when the national census will be held, let alone the caste census. The census should have ideally happened in 2021, but the government has kicked the can down the road multiple times, citing COVID as one of the main reasons in recent years. We've in fact done a detailed video on why the census hasn't taken place. You can watch that on our YouTube channel. But back to the present. Given BJP's style of functioning, promises are always made first, and the implementation is, dare I say, left to chance. And whether the caste census promise ends up meeting the same fate will be very interesting to watch. But the fact that they've said it, they've gone out and said it that we will, that is the Modi government, will do a caste census, it remains to be seen how the opposition reacts to it going further, especially with Bihar elections around the corner. That's all we have for this report. Thanks for watching.